Chapter 7, Slack Buckley. What on earth? My mother asked as my father rolled in the door and swept me into my bedroom.
That's no good.
What is that? I asked. Your date. What? I'm treating you and Glacia to a date. Give her the flowers and the chocolates. What kind of flowers are they? Roses and carnations, the same I got your mother on our last anniversary. Ah, you got the Jared special with chocolate for $15 again. It was 13, but yeah, enjoy! This was the first time that my dad has been like this in a long time. He must be really happy for us to have gone out to get me flowers and chocolates to give to my fiancée and take her out somewhere fancy. We could go dancing, but I have no idea where to go or what to do. We filter back into the dining room. I hand Glacia the flowers and chocolates, sweep her off her feet, and we get into the cobalt. Where are we going? Glacia asked. What would you like to do? The night is young and your man is rich. How does Victor sound? Victor's was the local dance and pool hall in Madonsket, and I hadn't been there with her before. It was a nice place and all, and I'm sure she'd have a good time. She probably only suggested it since I mentioned the place to her a while back. I drove on and we pulled up and walked in. I slipped the man at the door as 20, and we were good to go for the evening. This is a good song, Glacia said, as one of my favorite dancing songs came on. We rushed the floor and went middle school on the dance floor. Except instead of arms length apart, bystanders wouldn't be able to tell where one of us ended and the other began. This song was only long when I was dancing to it. If it came on in the car, on the radio, or something like that, it didn't seem as long as it did when I danced to it. It's the first time Glacia and I have danced to it, but I did with a couple other girls in my time. Motel, Sand, and Drake, yes. We had left my house at 9:45 and it was already 11:45 and I couldn't believe where the time went. Between dances, some pool, some snuggling, and some intimacy. The time just disappeared on us that night. I didn't need to be back to Washik tomorrow, and neither did she because it was a Saturday night and neither of us had classes the next day. I was determined to stay out as long as possible, or until the $50 ran out, whichever would come first. It was almost 2 when we got back to my parents' house, and we had been asked to leave after last call. No, it wasn't a bar or other alcoholic beverage venue, but there was just a time when we all had to leave, and my 20 didn't get me past that time, even if I wanted it to. We spent the entirety of my dad's gift, and I was tired, and so was she. We snuggled and got intimate, and realized that's what got us where we did, but we didn't care, so we kept going anyway, since there was no chance of anything else happening at this point. I have to say, it was a pretty good evening. We slept in that day. After being out all night, I didn't feel like waking up at 8 a.m. for no good reason. I looked at my watch, and it was 12:30. Not bad. So I got up and dragged myself out of bed. Glacia was still asleep, so I snuck past without waking her up. There was some bread left out, so I threw it in the toaster so I could have something to tide me over while I made
Pancakes!
Mom, what's the recipe for
Pancakes!
I yelled into the other room where my mother was watching television. Water.
Pancakes!
Mix. Oh, sweet. Awesome. Love ya. Want some
Pancakes!
Fine, just make your goddamn
Pancakes!
I got the pancakes, a bowl, and a whisk, and a skillet, or whatever the hell you call it. I'm not really a chef, so I these things. I dumped a fair amount of mix in the bowl and whisked it up with more water than I thought I needed, and the mixture thinned out, but thickened back up with
Make me happy!
I poured the delicious batter on the skillet and arranged it in the shape of a heart for my love. Oh, she would love it. I grabbed another frying pan and some bacon from the fridge and cooked up some bacon. It went really quickly, and I set it aside and ate some while waiting for the pancakes to finish doing their thing. There were a bunch of trays for eating in bed, and I brought one into my bedroom where Glacia was still asleep. And that was fine, since the pancakes weren't done yet anyway. I went back out and flipped the cakes, and they were deliciously brown on the top. Perfect, I muttered quietly to myself. My dad walked in the door. Lots of pancakes, I said to him. No, just eat them, he said as he went and sat on the couch ripping his boots off. Good enough. More for the two of us. I made only 4 because I was going to have 2, and I didn't know how many she was going to eat. But if there was one left, I'd bring it to Weed, since he always begs people for munchies. Anyway, I put the fluffy goodness and the bacon on the tray and stood it in front of her, then sat there waiting for her to wake up. It wouldn't be long. Nobody can resist the smell of pancakes and warm maple syrup when it's less than 3 feet away from them. I didn't want to stop mine until she woke up to eat because that would seem rude. And I don't need to have another random argument unless it would assuredly end up being one where we'd vigorously make out after. I kinda like those. She yawned and turned over. Looking me right in the eyes, she kissed me, and that was pleasant. I pointed out the delicious mean in front of her. Baby, you should have, she said as she started to enjoy the pancake feast. Well, I wanted to. It's the most culinary I've gotten for either of us. This is true. She smiled at me, and I smiled back.
Nice smile.
As we both enjoyed our pancakes. When do you want to head out? I asked. Whenever you're ready. I don't need to be back early. I just want to tell Perry something so we can get Weed far away from that apartment. That would be wise, yeah. Tell him 6:30. Will do, and I'll make
dinner
so he doesn't have to again. But his
dinner
are delicious. Yes, they are. So I won't mention
dinner
and see what happens. Okay. Yeah, if we need to, we can probably make
dinner
without too much issue. Yep, and it'll make him feel not so obligated to always make
dinner
or any meal for that matter. We finished
breakfast
and went out to the living room. So, I started. My parents just looked me in the eyes, staring blankly, waiting for me to finish my sentence. I had to tell them something. I have to tell you guys something else that I didn't mention last night. Which is? My mother asked. Well, you see, I started again. Glacia cut me off! What he's trying to say is that we came in as 2, and we'll leave as 3. My dad did it again. Got up from the couch, put on his boots, got in his truck, and drove off. Unfortunately, we won't be here long enough to see exactly what he is doing. I left my mother, once again speechless, because she got what we were getting at. She ran to the phone and went down to her bedroom. I didn't have time to say anything before all this happened. We just left as all this was going on around us. I'll be coming back in a couple days. Maybe things will be more smoothed over by then. I love my parents, and they know it. I wouldn't tell them all this stuff if I didn't really want them to know about it. Shouldn't we at least wait and talk to them? Glacia asked me as we were halfway to the car. What do you want me to say? It doesn't matter, but at least it's better than running out and looking like an idiot. There is nothing to talk about with them. Yeah, there is. Just go back, please. I don't really want to talk to them about it. I know what you're gonna say. Something about me being irresponsible, that I'm not ready for this. But we can be. We can be ready for this. We need their help just as much as we need my parents' help. It's out of control. It's out of our control at this point. She had a very good point. I just don't know what I'm going to say to them. I've said all I can say at the moment. But she's right. We went back inside, sat down on the couch, neither of my parents anywhere around. I can't even fathom what either of them is doing right now. I'm sure my father isn't out shopping for date night, but my mother is probably out on the phone with Nana and Papa, telling them everything, and that's not bad, but I still don't know what to do. I feel in over my head now after seeing their reactions. I heard crying from the other room. It was definitely my mother. She had either lost her cool at something or was incredibly depressed. I wanted to go down there. Maybe I should go check it out, I said to Glacia. Just help me with me. Guess. I was confused and didn't know what to do. My mother came down to the living room and hung the phone up. She hugged us and I was totally blown away. I love you so much, she said to me quietly. I love you too, Mom. How long have you guys known? Since Friday, Glacia said. That's when I checked the test most recently. So, how much longer? We don't know. It would be 7 or 8 months, so it'll be longer. I've got an appointment in a couple weeks to check for sure. That's good. Yeah, I said. But do you think you're ready? I think so, but I'm still confused. Me too, Glacia chimed in. It's pretty normal for the first time around. If you guys need anything, you can always call or come by. I love you guys. She had taken it a lot better than I thought she would have. What did Nana say? I assume that's who you were on the phone with? I asked. She's excited for you guys. She's happy and is going to tell Papa to call you when he gets back to the house. Okay, on my cell or the house phone? If they call here, just have them call for you if you're leaving soon. We are, so yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, well, have a safe trip back. I love you guys. Love you too. She gave each of us another hug as we started to leave. When Dad gets back, call me and tell me where he went and such. I could do that. Thanks. We left the house and were back on the road to Washig. Neither of us said anything on the entire trip. I was really close with my estimate when I told Perry 6:30 because we pulled into the apartment at 6:15.